Welcome to this edition of the Silverthorne Pulse. I am Kim Jardim with the town of Silverthorne, and I am here with Tom Daugherty, our Director of Public Works. How are you, Tom?
Very good, and how are you?
Good. Really glad that it's summertime here in the mountains. I mean, it's about time, and we all know that even though there's a lot of great things going on here in the county in the summer, that one thing that also has to happen in the summer is projects. So it's project season, time to take care of all the things that we haven't been able to take care of all winter long. I know that a lot of your projects, some of your projects, I should say, occur any time of the year because they're indoors, but you have certain things that you can only take care of during the summer.
Correct.
So now is the time.
It is.
Yes. So with that said, we appreciate everybody's patience out there with us this summer as we take care of our facilities, our roads, our infrastructure. We've got a lot going on, and we wanted to talk about that today and specifically focus on the items that affect the public. So that we can just give everyone a heads up of what's happening in our town. So with that said, let's talk about the projects that will actually impact people and whether they're visitors or residents in their days during this summer and fall in Silverthorne.
Very good.
So let's start with roads.
Okay.
I've heard that we are replacing the median rocks in all of our medians along our roadways. I believe that's primarily Blue River Parkway. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So long ago, our medians got built with rock cobble, and it tends to collect the road sand that we plow with, which then grows weeds and makes it very difficult for us to maintain. So we're going to remove those rocks and put a concrete back in that is stamped and a decorative look to it that is much easier to clean with our equipment, and it takes a whole lot less resources. So it'll be nice looking and a little easier to clean, yeah.
Great.
So that'll be happening over the next few years. We did one part last year, and then this next year, we have another small section that we're going to do, and then there's a larger section in there that we're going to do in 2020.
Wow.
So.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So what does that involve, lane closures along Blue River Parkway?
Yes, it will. We don't quite have a date nailed down with our contractor yet, but it's looking like it'll be July, maybe August, but more than likely sometime in July. We'll close a lane down in each direction up against the medians so that the contractor can safely get in there and remove the material and get it back out. Pretty much at the end of every day, though, we will try to clear out so that it's back to a two-lane scenario. There may be times when we have to keep one of the lane closures, but most of the time we'll be able to return it.
Okay, great.
So and it shouldn't really take too long. It'll probably be 2 weeks at the most once we get started.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we all know, too, that our roads really take a lot of abuse in the winter time. And so we've got marking and striping going on as well. So again, that'll be intermittent throughout the summer, correct? But they'll certainly, those companies that are doing the work for us will certainly mark off those areas and just have people work around that.
Yeah, generally they do it with a moving truck. So they have a moving lane closure. So as the truck is moving through the area, there'll be a car behind them that will push people over to the other lane. If they're doing it in a location where there's just one lane of traffic in each direction, they'll still do a moving lane closure, but they usually try to find breaks in there so that they're not occupying a lane for a long time.
Okay.
And so they'll do shorter sections at a time. Plus it gives them the opportunity to reload their paint guns. But we try to do all that work in June as much as we can. We want to get our stripes down so that they're actually usable during the summer, because come winter we start grinding them off again.
And it's the plows that grind them off?
Yeah.
So is that an annual project for the town?
It is an annual project. We've not found a product that would stick around for very long the way and as often as we plow. So we end up taking them off every year and putting them back every year.
Wow. I didn't realize that. Great.
Yeah.
So let's talk about parks for a minute. Rainbow Park.
Correct.
So there's a new playground surface that will be torn out and replaced this summer. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we have some surfaces that are like a poured-in-place type of product, and it's meant to keep kids and adults too, if they want to go play out there, from hurting themselves whenever they fall down. But it's wearing out, it's getting old, and there's starting to be some cracks and whatnot that show in it, and we have to go in and replace it from time to time, and it's come time to replace the wear surface that we have. There's other stuff like engineered wood fiber that is also protective, but we have a rubber product that we have under certain apparatuses. So.
Okay,
and then
great.
we're actually going to replace one of the apparatuses as well, just it's gotten worn out. We have it on order, and it'll show up in time so that it can be done in August with the play surface. Now we'll close the playground down whenever that work is going on, and it won't be an entire closure, but it'll be around the area where the workers are working.
Okay.
So they'll fence it off and make sure that nobody can get in there. And that, again, that doesn't take but a few days as well.
Sure. And it's my understanding that those dates are August 18th to the 28th.
Correct.
And I imagine those can flex at times based on contractors and their schedules and their projects going longer or shorter than anticipated. But right now, those are the dates, August 18th through the 28th.
Correct. The caveat is almost every project we have is subject to weather. It's subject to changes in availability of contractors. So we try to stick as closely as we can to the dates, but we need a little bit of flexibility to move around depending on the circumstances. So.
And it's important to note that we'll always have updates on our website and on our social media outlets as well to keep people updated about closures and summer projects. So tell us about the stairs going down from the rec center to Rainbow Park Field.
Now that project, as we speak, is mostly done, but we used to have a staircase that went down from the rec center parking lot down to the field at Rainbow Park, and it was old. It got put in years and years ago, and it was starting to deteriorate to the point where we weren't comfortable with it anymore. So we have a new staircase, and we've moved it over a little bit so that the pedestrian flow of traffic in and off of those stairs doesn't interfere with the activities on the field as much.
Great.
So we're moving that over a little bit. We're filling it back in. Plus, it'll make the rest of that hillside available for wintertime use, such as sledding and tubing.
Rainbow Park's a great place for sledding in the winter.
Yes,
Gosh,
it is.
you just see people out there all of the time. Great spot. So, Trent Park. So we've got ADA ramps going into the water and replacing those timber walls that surround the Trent Park pond, but not until the end of October,
Correct.
It sounds like, and it'll only take about 10 days or so. Can the public still access the pond at that time if they would like to be in that area at Trent Park?
Yeah, so pretty much the area between the pond and the tennis courts is where those ramps and the walls are getting worked on. We've done a lot of work already on the walls, but that finishing up all of that work will take place in that area, so we'll only close those areas. A little bit of the parking lot may be closed for staging when we do that work. And so the rest of the pond and the rest of the park will be open.
Great. And also at Trent Park as well, there's going to be a new roof on the restroom and on the pavilion shelter. And it's my understanding that the restrooms will stay open during that time, but when the work does occur on the pavilion shelter, it'll be inaccessible for a short period of time.
Correct. Just the way the shelter is, it's kind of hard for us to keep that open while we're doing the work.
Sure.
Where the bathrooms allow us, because there's only one side of it being used, it allows us to be able to work on the outside of that. So there will also be a staging that occurs in the parking lot as well.
Oh, okay, great.
So there'll be a little bit of interference with the parking.
Sure. Okay. And so speaking of the parking, we're replacing the parking lot pavement in Trent Park as well. And the timing for that is July or August, still yet to be determined for sure. Again, we'll keep people up to date on our website and our social media channels, but so folks can use the adjacent lot right across Willowbrook Road at that time, correct? We have an overflow dirt lot just directly across from the park.
Correct.
It's visible and obvious to folks, I think, if the parking lot is closed.
And we will also sign, when we close the parking lot for that work, we will sign for people to be able to go across the way there to find parking. Now, the work itself is not going to take very long. It'll probably take a week of actual closure by the time we get it all done. But for the most part, a week worth of closure, we'll be signing it so everybody knows where to go.
Right. Great. Excellent. Weeds. Let's talk about weeds. So they're ubiquitous in our high country, and so the town does a great job of spraying for weeds. Those areas will be marked when that happens, and it is safe to go back on those areas after the herbicide has been dried.
Once it's
which
dry,
is pretty quick,
yeah.
correct?
We say about an hour, but it kind of depends on what the weather's doing. If it's wet out, or
Sure.
If other conditions exist that it stays wet, you would like to stay off of those things until you know that it's dry. Once it's
Right.
dry, it's typically safe to go on to it. Our herbicide is. And we
Okay.
utilize the same ones that everybody else in our county uses.
Great. So pets, children, adults, it's all the same. Once it's dry, it's safe.
Yes.
Okay, great.
I mean, I wouldn't encourage anybody to go lick the leaves, but yes.
Sure. Absolutely. So let's talk about our newest park that we're all really excited about, Maryland Creek Park. It's on the northern edge of town. It's at the base of the Summit Sky Ranch neighborhood, and it is a Town of Silverthorne park. And so we're getting really close to opening that. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the amenities at that park?
Well, yeah. First off, it was Summit Sky Ranch built that park as part of their development. And it includes a very large play field. It has another smaller play field, essentially right adjacent to the warming hut, we call it, where the bathrooms are. But it also is at the base of a sledding hill, which, even though we didn't open the park this last year, got some use, and I've heard good reviews about it.
I've heard it's a really great sledding hill. I haven't tried it myself, but.
And there's also a dog park, and the dog park has a small dog area and a large dog area, and on the other side of that is a disc golf course. So all of those things will hopefully be opening here pretty soon. Summit Sky Ranch has a few small things yet to fix on the park before we can really open it up. But when we do, we will be putting it out on our website so people will know about it. And hopefully it happens here very shortly.
And I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, that the dog park is, there's a park for small dogs and a park for larger dogs.
Yes.
And that the disc golf course is sort of a beginner type course for, the holes are in close proximity to one another.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe not necessarily even beginner, but just everything's close. So if your kids are playing there, you can see them the entire time they're out on the course. They're never out of sight and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a disc golfer, so I don't know how hard the course is. But yes, if you were to go out there, you would see that the whole park is laid out on a fairly flat site, and there's good visibility almost everywhere you go. The only reason that you might be able to lose sight of anything right now is there might be a building or a tree or something in the way. But other than that, there's really good range in there for people to watch their kids.
Great. So it's really close, and we will update people as to when it's available and open. It should be here just in the next couple of weeks. And so please check on our website, and if you follow us on social media there as well. And we're super excited about that. And there's restroom facilities there as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great.
And the park operates from dawn to dusk, so
Great.
Outside of those hours, the restrooms will be closed.
Got it. Excellent. Let's talk Blue River Trail for a moment. So there are new segments that are being constructed this summer, segment 6 and segment 7, or is it 6A?
6A.
6A and 7. And 6A is just north of the Tammy Jameson Bridge.
Correct.
In the Blue River Run neighborhood.
Right.
And segment 7 begins at Silverthorne Elementary,
Right at Hamilton Creek Road.
right at Hamilton Creek Road, and goes north from there. So tell us just a little bit about the construction timeline on that, when people can get out on it, and what the reason for adding those segments was in the first place.
Well, there's a master plan for the Blue River Trail that phased it in 7 different segments. And so the first segments are all built. The remaining segments of 6 and 7 were the ones that were left hanging out there. So the council decided that they wanted to get both of those done this year. So we put segment 7 together, but 6A was cut up because we do not have the easements necessary to complete 6 all the way around to connect up where the plan shows it to connect up just short of the segment 7. So those plans for the segment 6B are for the future. We'll have to figure out when we can get easements for that, and when we do, we'll build that at a later time. Now, the contractor found a hole in its schedule and was able to get that done sooner rather than later. And so as we speak, the asphalt has already been placed. It will be done by the end of this week. So before the 4th of July, you will be able to ride it and enjoy it.
Great. So you're saying there's still one small segment that is not continuous yet, that is yet to be completed.
Right. 6A goes out and stops, and 6B connects that one all the way around. So it'll be kind of like a cul-de-sac, if you will.
Sure.
6A would be something you could ride out, walk out to right near the river, and then come back.
Okay, great, excellent. So our recreation center, which we all love so much, and so do our visitors and our residents, the upper level track that surrounds the cardio area and the weight area is being replaced this summer.
Correct.
So our dates right now, as of now, are August 17th to the 31st. What's the reason for replacement?
Just old. It has been used a lot. So
Sure.
As it ages, other issues can develop, and you really don't want to have anything that's unsafe. So we've replaced it this year in an effort to try to make it a new, good surface that will not cause any problems or cost a lot of resources to continue to repair.
Right.
And so it'll be replaced almost with the same material that we have there now, but only a new color.
Great. So that will be, I believe it's my understanding from the recreation center that those areas upstairs will still be accessible, even though the track itself is being replaced, that folks will still be able to access the weight area and the cardio area as well, which is great.
Yeah. They try not to close anything that they don't have to close. So
Sure.
the rec center does a very good job of trying to keep areas open that are able to be used.
I think it's important to note that we all take for granted that all of these town services that we have just continue to work and function properly as we expect. We have the high expectations, right? Like every time you go to the rec center, everything's working and our roads are always in good shape and that sort of thing. But it's important to note that a lot of work goes into it, and that's why we're talking about what a busy summer schedule you guys have.
And we try to do things that impact as little as possible, although people still are not happy with the impact. But if they could just be patient with us, we try to get it done as soon as we can. And yes, and hopefully it'll be new and we don't have to touch it for a long time.
Right. So again, in the rec center, more repairs the pool column, but that'll actually be occurring September 3rd to the 17th when the pool area is closed for numerous repairs anyway. So again, that's a time when the kids in our community are back in school. We certainly have a lot of adults that use our pool area as well, but we try to, again, lessen the impact so it's not a time when the kids are out of school and want to use the pool more often than not. And so that'll be occurring also.
Yeah.
Great. So let's see. Did you want to talk about any other projects that don't necessarily impact the public immediately this summer, but might be of interest to folks that the town is working on?
Well, yeah, we have a lot of planning going on this year as well. We're doing we're looking at how to connect up our neighborhoods through the Smith Ranch. If everybody's familiar, and I'm guessing everybody is pretty familiar with Smith Ranch, there's Adams Avenue that goes through there, and we're looking to see how to connect it over to Willowbrook. And so we're doing an exercise of looking at all the different options on that this year. We're also looking at our traffic master plan within town. As traffic increases, as properties redevelop, we need to understand what the impacts are of the traffic on our community. And so we're doing a larger traffic master plan update to try to estimate what those improvements might be in the future. It helps us, one, plan whenever developments come in, and it also helps us figure out how we can spend our money the best and not spend it twice. We are also doing a drainage master plan update as well, in that same vein, knowing that these properties are going to redevelop. We need to make sure that we're dealing with our drainage that's coming off of the mountains in a way that is most effective at utilizing what we already have in place. There's only so many ways for us to cross Highway 9 into the river with our drainage, and we don't want to have to dig any new ones because they're very expensive. So we're updating all of that so that as things develop in the future, we'll be able to incorporate all of these plans.
There's a lot going on.
Yes, there is.
There sure is. Thank you so much for coming in today and talking to us about this. Again, we will keep you updated on all of our summer public works projects on our website and on our social media channels. And thank you for joining us for this edition of the Silverthorne Pulse.